Now, you mentioned about tactical nuclear weapons. You will have heard President Putin's alarmist language several days ago. Is that something you took seriously? Do you think that it is remotely realistic that he could push that button?
It's definitely possible. Russia, unlike countries like Britain, exercise and plan on the basis of using tactical nuclear weapons in a more conventional war. It's part of their armory, and they move them around when they move their troops around. Now, they haven't yet deployed them, and I think the thing that hopefully will stop them deploying them is just the sense that Ukraine is so close to Russia, so intimate with Russia. I mean, these analogies are terrible, and we shouldn't draw these kind of parallels, but it is like, almost feels, and this is one of the reasons Putin's invading, it feels to him close to Scotland, feels to England. Many, many Russians have relatives, many, many more have friends in Ukraine. And the idea of using tactical nuclear weapons on your closest neighbours, I think, hopefully will be something that will give even Putin pause for thought.
And what would that look like if he did take that very drastic step? Would that be a weapon that affected tens of thousands of people? Would the effects of that spill over into other countries? No,
I mean, it depends what he's doing. But some of these tactical nuclear weapons are called tactical because they have very limited impact and range. So it's not like dropping an atom bomb on Hiroshima. These are genuinely things that are designed to be used on the battlefield. The problem is the precedent that it causes, because, of course, nobody has used these things in war since the Second World War.
And nobody, fortunately, at the moment is talking about the use of chemical weapons, as we know has happened in Syria. Do you think that President Putin, frustrated by lack of progress, he's been ritually humiliated, might resort to that?
I think the key thing with Putin is to understand that we are not predicting him well. We don't understand him well. So anything that I say about him is speculation. He's a very different guy to the guy that was around 15 years ago. It's remarkable how much has changed. He seems much more lonely, much more isolated. He's probably making decisions which the Russian general staff do not approve of, and he's worrying them. But if you force me to guess, I would say that it's unlikely that he will do things like that. I think it's very unlikely that he will actually use tactical nuclear weapons. I think it's very unlikely he'll use chemical weapons. I think what is more likely to happen is that we will go into a phase of much heavier conflict. He'd hoped to be able to get through Ukraine quite quickly without killing many people. He'd hoped that he'd be able to topple Zelensky's government rapidly, and he was really relying on what he'd called hybrid warfare, which is cyber attacks, special forces, small light movements, which he thought could topple the country. Now that's failed. Now he's basically bogged down. The only option really remaining to him, or the next option remaining to him, is to grind his way through those cities in street-to-street combat, and that is brutal, really brutal.